as we discuss these back in the boxes. Mike, this visit structure a little bit different than the Jerry Reese days?
Oh, big time. As a matter of fact, when Jerry Reese was general manager of the Giants, they would only use their visits on two kinds of guys. Guys that had questions about their injury situation or their personality, and also potential undrafted free agents later in the draft. They would start the recruiting process of those guys. You have to recruit them because there's a mad scramble after the draft, so you'd start that ahead of time. In the case of Dave Gettleman now and the current Giants regime, they're bringing in all these quarterbacks. They're bringing in Bradley Chubb. They're bringing in Saquon Barkley. So they're actually using these visits to assess the guys at the top of the draft, even if they don't have any question marks. A guy like Saquon Barkley, there are no question marks there, yet they're still using it to do their due diligence on what is going to be an extremely important pick should they make it at number 2. And I'll tell you this, now, a lot of times this can be off the mark, but the teams that are behind the Giants, I've heard from a couple who think that it's going to be Bradley Chubb. So take that with a grain of salt.
That's interesting, Mike, because I've actually heard from teams behind them who think it's going to be Saquon Barkley. And just listening, I'll tell you what, when Dave Gettleman talked to us in Orlando and just waxed poetic about Saquon Barkley and talked about the difference maker, for better or worse, as transparent as Gettleman seemed to be, that caught a lot of people's eye, which is to say no one really knows what they're actually going to do, but this certainly is a much more straightforward approach to the draft than the Giants have had in the past, and that's just the way Gettleman is. He's pretty open. He's pretty honest. He knows what he likes, and then he picks him. It's going to be the best player available, though. We know that. If there's one thing we know, it is going to be best player available regardless of position.
And more Dave Gettleman news. The Giants bringing in William Gay. Mike, what can you tell us about that?
That's a veteran presence there that they need to have in the secondary. I was curious who the signing was going to be because that defensive back room was a mess last year, and they needed some veteran presence, and they have it in William Gay. Didn't give him a ton of money, but he's going to come in here, get a chance to compete, get a chance to win a job here, and also get a chance to be a leader and say, hey, I played for a successful defense before. I played successful secondaries. This is how we do things. And maybe he'll be the guy that can finally lay down the law there and get some of the players like, let's say, Eli Apple. Now, look, there's a change in coaching staff as well. It's going to be on them to try and get that defensive back room in order, but you also need a player there to help make it happen. Could be William Gay.
Yeah, and of course, no guarantee Gay actually makes the team, but if he's as good a veteran presence as he's supposed to be, as he was in Pittsburgh, he really could do wonders for this room. And Mike, it was kind of fascinating what James Bettcher, the new defensive coordinator there, said the other day. Clean slate, doesn't care what happened in the past, didn't get into anything with the media except to say, I don't know anything, I'm going to start judging him now. I would imagine for some guys like maybe Eli Apple, that is some welcome news to kind of re-earn his place on this roster.
Yeah, a clean slate would make all parties involved very pleased. Ian Rappaport, Mike Garafolo.